Sup bitches, I'm Kai. So, Twitter, follow me, you know the drill. You all read the title, you know what I'm going to speak about. Now, I'm going to try and be as calm as I can throughout this video. Having to talk about this again a month later is a little vexing. To those who are tired of this, trust me, I get it, but I need to make something abundantly clear. I am a very small channel. While I am thankful for all of my numbers and all of the support, I don't have a big enough audience to comfortably ignore when other channels talk about or mention me in a negative light, especially when their numbers are larger than 50k. I had to make my response to harsh opinions because people like Toby were promoting it, and if I just let it sit with no defense, misinformation was going to spread, especially after views began to rise. I would have responded to Nani, but her video came almost directly after Harsh's video came out, and both of them said pretty much the same thing. Nani also unlisted that video, and since this new video is out, she's thinking about reinstating that video and releasing another one on this drama. Just absolutely incredible. But let's get into it.
No! I'm not letting you quit on Harsh and Nani just because you're scared of the mob.
I don't think I can do anything, Jar-senpai. All that will happen is they will come for my ass next.
That's funny. I remember saying the same thing to you about a certain green lizard.
Fair point, but I don't want to fuck it up, like you did.
Oi!
However, I do think we need one more person. Who was that girl that did the MLP vid with us?
You mean Butters? I already hit her up to jump in, just in case you chickened out.
I'm joining in because Toby is my friend. Why are you guys doing any of this?
Because I felt like something was off with this whole thing.
I'm here against my will. Hooray!
Okay, so the intro to this video is actually kind of cute. I like Fuchsia and Kamen's stills. They're very well drawn, and you can tell these people want to be entertaining to their audience. Too bad the content of this video isn't good. Let's continue.
Is this even worth making a video about? I thought I was done with drama.
We'll be starting with Kai's commentary on harsh opinions.
So, Mango, I have a question for you. When you do a commentary on a video, and you add your own stuff to it, what happens?
The video has 2 people in it now?
Holy shit, you're dumb. The video gets longer. Harsh's video was over 40 minutes long, and Kai's commentary was under 20, meaning he cut out a lot.
Right, so Fuchsia says here that I cut out a lot. Let's look at the length of my video and the length of this video. Like Fuchsia said, my video is just shy of 20 minutes long. This video is 24 minutes, and the title leads people to assume you're talking about the whole drama, which consists of videos ranging from 10 minutes to an hour in order to get the full context of what happened on both sides. Kamen says before you all begin to go over my video that you all will be starting on my response to harsh opinions. This implies that my video is not the only one you will be covering. So unless my video is the only video that you went over, you all cut a lot too.
This video starts off with a message saying, please don't attack anyone mentioned in this video. But looking at Harsh's video, it got a ton of dislikes, and some of the worst hate comments I have ever seen.
Wait, what did those comments say? I don't like how you're telling a black person how to feel about this. Telling a black person not to open the can of worms on racial stuff is kind of sus, not gonna lie. Yeah, maybe don't undermine the racial experiences of 2 black people next time. As a black person, I have to deal with what you call the can of worms every day. Don't comment on racial issues you don't know or care about. Thanks. This can of worms is the life Anya, Kai, and I have to live every day as black people. Comment under their most recent community post demanding an apology, I think, when it's due. These are hate comments to you? Not only hate comments, but they're the worst hate comments you've ever seen. Do you mean worse as in the quality of the comments, or worse as in the level of how hateful they are? Because these comments are neither. These are people who are upset with what Harsh had to say about race. They didn't attack her race, her appearance, her drawing skills, or anything. They didn't even attack her. They just vented their frustration with the video and the comments she made. A lot of the top comments on that video are actually real, rational criticisms. I don't know, Jar. Maybe people dislike this video because it was bad. Just a thought.
You're a white woman. Who are you to say that? That can of worms is open for me and Omnia both, every day of our lives as black people. If that BLM in your Twitter name meant anything, you would know how foolish it is to say this.
Who are you, as a white woman, to say this? Shut the fuck up, bro. That is actually racist.
How how is that racist? Now, before I get into anything, it was later confirmed to me that Harsh is mixed, so I do want to apologize for getting your race wrong, Harsh. The reason I made the assumption that Harsh is white is mainly because her persona on YouTube is a white girl, or has white skin. Very clearly not black. And I would have hoped that if she were to make a comment like that, she would have clarified she was mixed. But even as a mixed person, that comment makes you sound very tone deaf to the issues that the Black Lives Matter movement upholds, and still makes the BLM in your Twitter name look very performative. But Jar seems more concerned with me saying that a white woman shouldn't say race is a can of worms that didn't need to be fucking opened, because a white woman shouldn't. If you think it's racist that I said that, you're a part of the problem. White people don't nearly have to deal with racial injustice the same way black people do. So when you speak on it, you speak from a place of ignorance. I've seen innocent black people die at the hands of racial injustice, Jar. That's the main reason why BLM is a thing. I doubt your experiences are the same, and if they are, it's a rarity. The fact that you are this upset about what I said, so much so to think that it's racist and even accuse me of being racist, either shows your ignorance, misunderstanding, or apathy to the experiences of racism black people, as well as people of color, have to go through. But that's not even what this drama was originally about. It was about Toby. It's insane how much we pivoted from the original intent, but I'm not surprised since I'm dealing with people like this.
Just like a white girl. Also, she isn't white, she's mixed. She even said, I don't want to get into the topic of the race comments. So as a quote-unquote white woman, she doesn't want to get into it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to get into it. No one said she did. Everyone's problems were with her saying that it was a can of worms that didn't need to be fucking opened, which means that she didn't want us, black people, who have to deal with that can of worms every day, to open that can of worms. Why did it not need to be opened? I implore you to ask yourself this, Jar. Also, as a mixed person who reps BLM, you'd think she would word that a little better as to not undermine a movement that she appears to care about. Also, what is she mixed with? Is she white passing? Because depending on that info, it would explain the recklessness of that comment overall.
You can never appease these victim cults. You get into something, they're offended. You don't want to get into something, they're still offended. People in Harsh's comments are attacking her for the can of worms comment, demanding that she apologizes to Kai. They're acting like it's the worst thing to say to a black person. Who are you as a man to tell a woman what she can and cannot say? See, I can do it too.
I'm not demanding an apology from Harsh, so I don't know why you said this. And to equate race politics with gender politics would be a pretty stupid thing to do. But you did it thinking they were the same thing, or similar enough for you to say what you said. The experiences women have to deal with are not remotely synonymous with issues of race. Also, what you said wasn't that wild of a thing to say either. I don't think a man should tell a woman what to do at all. That would be pretty misogynistic. Now, obviously there are exceptions based on context, but at its base, it's misogynistic. Anyways, I don't need an apology from Harsh. I don't need an apology from anyone in this drama. Not even you. If anything, I want you people to let it die. But I mean, here we are, a month later, going over it again.
So let's get this out of the gate. I didn't know who Toby was before this whole debacle went down. I'm probably sure I'm gonna get chewed out or be told that I'm some kind of boomer for sticking my nose in this situation. But guess what? When a good number of videos are put out on the net, it makes it public game. That's kind of the point. When someone makes a video online, you're allowed to have an opinion on the situation. Just because people keep saying, oh, you cannot enter this because it doesn't concern you, the fact that you made it public makes it fair game to talk about. That's something that people seem to not understand. Should we not have talked about things when Slazzo got accused of bad things with his girlfriend? Should we not have talked about Spoctor when he got accused? Note that my examples are only used to say that we are allowed to talk about these sorts of issues. Sorry, I am getting ahead of myself.
Now, I agree with Kamen here. I do think it's fine to comment on the drama. But that was not our issue with Toby's video. Initially, when this drama started, the main sources of conflict were me, Omnia, and Toby. Our beef was primarily with Toby alone, but after finding out that other YouTubers with audiences, like Madlibs and Nani, were weighing in on the situation, the sources of conflict increased in numbers. What we mean by the situation having nothing to do with anyone is because the focal source of conflict was Toby alone. As more people talk about it, whether that be in videos or tweets, that shifts the scope of the drama altogether. Originally, Omnia and I only had to address Toby and Toby's actions. That's why we all refer to it as the Toby drama. The initial intent had nothing to do with FuschiaButter, Jar, MangaKamen, or even Harsh Opinions. But here we are.
In the art commentary community, there was buzz about a creator called Toby who apparently can't take criticism, and I can see the reason why. There was a video by a creator called Omnia who worked with Kai West criticizing Toby, and to be honest, I can't disagree with a lot of their points. I think it is a strong video. But I do think that some of the points were blown out of proportion, along with some points being, well, questionable in execution. To point out, I am not defending Toby in this, nor do I think she was smart in this entire situation. But considering how people have acted throughout this situation, anyone who actually decides to critique or commentate or criticize Kai or Omnia in any sort of way, they're seen as villainized. Hell, when I left a positive comment on Kai's video and talked to him as a person, I actually got lambasted because people decided to think that I was being disrespectful to him, even though, if you look at the comment, I wasn't.
Okay, so I actually think that Kamen brings up a lot of good points, and I very much appreciate the accolades for what you did like on Omnia and I's collab. But what I do disagree with is the idea that anyone who criticizes Omnia and I is met with backlash. And again, I don't think the comments shown off in this video represent that backlash very well. The problem people have is that everyone who has done a video on the both of us have not done those videos well. Not only that, but the reason why you see so many videos on Toby and less videos on Omnia and I is because our mistakes are drastically less bad than Toby's. Not only that, but they have since been apologized for. People are still upset with Toby because she apologized poorly, which both you and Jar acknowledge in this video. Also, I don't know if this was a hiccup made by Jar's editor or something, but this was not the comment that you put on my video. This was the comment that you put on Harsh and Nani's videos. That screenshot is extremely old too, since that comment is listed as having only 2 replies, which does not help your argument here. Currently, this comment has 13 replies, a majority of those replies being you having an argument with one of my angry fans. I also interjected in this conversation and apologized to you for the way they acted. It looks like they have since deleted their comments arguing with you but won. Also, Jar makes a point that I said not to send anyone hate, but highlights the hate that Harsh's video got. Yet you're on record to tell me this. Don't feel responsible for your fans. The only time a creator should be held accountable for that is if they actively attack someone or said for people to do this sort of thing. You also quote NSR. Great game, by the way. And I did neither. If you're going to collaborate with these people, Kamen, maybe hold them to this standard too. If I'm being honest, you feel so out of place in this video. And honestly, I think if you did this commentary on your own, it wouldn't be as muddled. Anyways, here's the actual comment you posted on my video, and I don't think I would classify it as positive. It's you telling me that the first point in my video that I made was weak. That's not positive at all. And while I do appreciate that you said you hoped you didn't come off as aggressive, again, I wouldn't say this comment is positive. That comment thread is a majority of you and I having a civil debate. This thread has over 30 replies, and not a single comment in those replies are people attacking you. If anything, they're discussing with you. Someone even gave you a really sweet comment as well in that same thread, talking about how they enjoyed your demeanor throughout your discussion with me, comparing you to an uncle while also throwing in small criticism. Even after you replied to them, they still upheld that civil demeanor and even apologized. You claim you were lambasted in this comment. No, you weren't. If anything, people were nice to you, and those who did show up in this comment, other than the person who was being civil with you, were either arguing amongst each other, agreeing with what you said, or arguing with me. I wish you actually went back to check that this claim you're making was actually true. And while I don't doubt that someone might have been in your comments talking about this situation, I do doubt that backlash was at the magnitude you're claiming it is. Now, I'm going to summarize this next part because while I do think it's relevant, Kamen and Jar speak for quite a while. Basically, the two of them condemn Toby for the way that she handled the situation, and Kamen goes into detail about what he dislikes about Toby's apology, which I think is good, like really good. I'm only summarizing this because I want to focus more on things pertaining to Omnia and I, not to cut anything out or anything like that. I also don't like making exceptionally long videos. I want to be as informative as possible in the shortest amount of time.
TLDR, Toby, you just threw more gasoline into this garbage fire.
I'm sorry, but like, so did you, Jar. It's been a month. The fire was dying. If anything, it was dead. Also, when the heck was this video made? If you guys look at the blurred screenshot, you can see that this was my old Twitter icon, which was this drawing of Aura. Was this video in the works for a long time or something? I don't understand. It seems to use like a lot of outdated information, at least on the editing front.
Omnia and Kai, you're like a spring-loaded pair of boxing gloves. When people dare to even question you, or even dare to be skeptical about your arguments, your responses are less than stellar. Also, it's a little egocentric to just assume people are talking about you. Like when you both got on the case of Mad Libs because you both thought she was talking about you two. When you two were too rash not to check the dates. Your video came out on the 19th and the tweet here is the 16th. Dumbass.
Again, this is stuff that we have since apologized for. So what's the point of saying this now? What more do you want from us, Fuchsia? Were y'all going to play this clip where I apologize for making a lapse in judgment?
But before I get into that, I want to be 100% transparent and say that Omnia and I both made a miscommunication in this subtweet that Libby made about Z Fix's art. Omnia assumed that it was about her and replied, and I went on to defend her as well. Nezzy Monster, who I'll get into in a moment, as well as Libby, soon clarified that this tweet wasn't about Omnia. Neither was Libby's upcoming video. That's our bad. We made a lapse in judgment.
Also, are y'all going to show where Omnia and I apologized directly to Toby and Libby for our actions? Seriously, how old is this video? This doesn't seem recent at all.
What the fuck? How the hell do you screw that up? The fact that both of you blew up over this situation on a tweet that didn't even address you at all kind of makes me feel like you're afraid of criticism yourself.
No, we weren't afraid of criticisms. We just made a dumb misunderstanding. We thought since Libby made one subtweet about Omnia, Libby made multiple. Also, considering how vague the tweet was, that also added to our lapse in judgment. Doesn't make it right, but it's our explanation.
And to be fair, both of them realized this, and in a follow-up video, Kai actually admitted to this. But this was a bit of a red flag to us, that you yourselves would get uber defensive on the matter just because people would question you in your videos. I understand wanting to defend yourselves, but healthy skepticism is something that you'll have to be prepared for if you want to continue on this kind of content, because detractors will always be a thing, and you can't be sniping at people like this. Again, I understand they both apologize for this, but just because someone has apologized, it doesn't mean that they can't learn from this situation or be criticized for it.
Just because someone apologized doesn't mean they can't learn from the situation or be criticized for it? Kamen, isn't an apology an indication that someone learned from a situation after criticism? It's been over a month since we made those tweets, and since then we have not interacted with any of you. We even deleted them. What more do you want from us? We've learned a long time ago.
I don't agree with a lot of this video, but I'm always open to different perspectives being out there. I appreciate your take on this, even if we stand on opposite sides. Not gonna lie, this kind of response irks me on a personal level. Because not only does Harsh Opinions make it clear in her video at the beginning that she isn't standing with Toby, even criticizing her as well at the beginning, and saying that she's being neutral.
What? Why did you read my comment like that? It's a pretty normal thing to say too. I was trying to be as polite as possible, and yeah, I didn't agree with what was said in the video. That's why I made a response. I don't see what Harsh not agreeing with Toby has to do with anything. I disagreed with the claims made about me, so I responded. I don't see why this is such a hard concept to grasp.
And the fact that you took the route of not addressing anything in her video with your comment is really limp-wristed. It shows weakness in your argumentative skills. Which, hey, I can't say that I don't appreciate you not starting more drama at all, and not starting a slap fight in the comments. But at the same time, why even bother commenting if you aren't going to address anything?
Because I was going to make a video to address her points. It seems kind of pointless to do it in the comment section. I commented to let Harsh know I watched her video, responded to a few people, made my video, and kept it moving. It's the same reason why Toby didn't comment on our video on her and made a video instead. Also, Fuchsia, you commented on my response video and even mentioned it in this video. Though I don't appreciate this comment from you or ZZ, this is a clear indication you know the reason why I didn't address it.
I could easily attribute that to your own videos on Toby. Maybe it's just me, but I find these comments to be a bit too generic in response to some pretty big claims. Like, let's not address the fact that you and Omnia implied that Toby could be a pedo. When you do that, it makes me and everyone else who knows about the situation look at you like you're dumb as a bucket of bricks.
I mean, you're free to think that, but we never implied anything. I even said this in my response to Harsh. You even watched it. At least I hope you did if you were going to criticize me for this. I find it so odd that you, Harsh, and Nani seem to think this after I clarified countless times in each of my Toby videos regarding this that I don't think she's a pedo. I never implied she's a pedo. By Toby's standards of what makes a pedo, she would fall into those standards. It feels like you guys are intentionally misunderstanding my point when I couldn't have made it any more clear. Especially now. I'm sorry, Fuchsia, but your friend called herself a pedo. If she wants to set the standard that anyone who draws minor characters, which to remind you is 17 and under, and Todoroki, as well as from what I've recently found out, Usagi from Sailor Moon are both minors. Usagi is 14 at the beginning of Sailor Moon and 16 as of the Dream and Stars arc. Todoroki is 16. They are children. She drew them sexually, and if the Todoroki picture wasn't bad, the Usagi picture is worse. If she's going to get all up in arms about Ben the Looney drawing photos like this, then maybe she shouldn't do it herself, because that would make her, by her own standards, again, a pedo. Also, a major hypocrite. I'm dumbfounded that you all don't understand this. You all also go on to criticize my wording. Kamen giving me a way to reword what I said, and though I appreciate that, me saying she's just as bad as the people she's complaining about was literally prefaced with, according to your logic. None of you mentioned that I said this. The people she's complaining about are the pedos of her standard, which she is just as bad as. I didn't have to reword anything, because the statement was already clear. Kamen also details his distaste for the drawing of Todoroki, as well as Toby's excuses, which are thoughts I can definitely agree with.
Now, Toby's point was that people who draw porn of kids are pedos. But Todoroki isn't a kid. He's 16, old enough to drive. The age of consent in most states is 16. Now, I understand a few of you might say that's basically the whole "it's not pedophilia, it's a femophilia" argument. Fine, I get that. But she didn't draw porn of him. I don't like the movie Cuties, but it isn't porn. Suggestive? Yes. Inappropriate? Yes. But porn? No. Also, she did it one time. Just once. Jesus Christ. Get over yourselves. You're acting like she's Shadman and she does this all the time. No, she did it one time. She made a mistake, and that's it.
I don't know about you, Jar, but 16 is a child, dude. Just because they are old enough to drive doesn't make them any less of a child. Also, she did draw porn of minors, which we went over earlier with the Usagi drawing. Todoroki was in a suggestive sexual situation. This was a standard she set for pedos. If she is going to condemn Ben the Looney for it, who drew 16-year-olds in sexual situations, she should probably not do the same thing. Also, it doesn't matter how many times she did it, she still did it, Jar. A lot of my faults in this situation are first-time offenses too. All of them even apologized for. But you thought they were bad enough to warrant a video. Not only that, but they were not nearly as proportional to Toby's. You can easily let her drawing slide, but not my actions? She made a mistake and that's it? Didn't you criticize me earlier for mistaking Harsh's race? Didn't Fuchsia criticize me for the mistake I and Omnia made on Twitter? This video is painted as neutral, but you so easily write off her actions as a mistake, yet I need a video. This is the main issue with videos like this. You all give Toby the benefit of the doubt, writing her actions off as a simple mistake, but don't extend that same courtesy to me or Omnia, all while claiming neutrality. After this, everyone goes into the whole leaked DMs thing, and Kamen starts to talk about the legality of it all, which quite frankly, I think is ridiculous. Also, no, leaking DMs is not illegal. Unless there's a legal standard of confidentiality established, examples being attorney and client or some form of contract, which mind you, neither of them established, Omnia is 100% free to leak her DMs with Toby. The fact that law is being brought up over some YouTube drama is very sad to me. Not only that, but inaccurate law. You also bring up the singular screenshot of expectation of privacy, which doesn't add to your point at all because expectation of privacy is used for analysis of cases pertaining to the Fourth Amendment, which at its core is to prohibit unlawful searches and seizures from federal agents. You never looked into the case that you detailed in this screenshot either, Katz versus United States, which would have given you an example of how expectation of privacy is executed. Katz was entitled to his Fourth Amendment right protection from the actions of federal agents. Trying to correlate this law to YouTube drama is at worst desperate and at best stupid. Not only that, but incriminating private messages are a pretty normal thing used in court and on YouTube. I could give you some leeway if Toby's actual personal information was leaked, but it wasn't. Just a story that she never established prior, she never wanted shared, which Omnia blurred after the fact to respect Toby's wishes. Now, a lot of the points made after this pertain more so to Omnia and not me, so I will leave her to comment on them on her own. But you all did bring up her threat, which was also addressed in my video responding to Harsh, and also apologized for and removed. All of that has since been explained. You all bring up my response to Harsh Opinions, which literally addresses all of this, and a lot of your points make me question whether or not you even watched the whole video. Here's a clip of me explaining the threat, including the clip of the threat again for complete transparency.
My friend. Also, since you don't know what taking your power back means, I'm going to demonstrate it to you right now. I'm going to show you all a clip that has since been removed from Omnia's video per my request. Harsh uses this as her biggest gotcha point and starts to tinfoil as to why we removed it.
Right now, I'm speaking to Madlib's Art and whoever else you're collaborating with on this supposed video y'all are making. Unless you're looking to end up like your little friend right here, just don't do it. You already look bad for getting yourself involved for no reason other than to do Toby's dirty work. So just spare yourself the time and the inevitable tank in subscribers and just make some other video. I'm saying this for your own good. Take care of yourselves.
Yes, Omnia said this. Harsh claims there's no way I didn't see it while we were working on the video. I did see it, but I was working on my half of the video before I did. Due to how fast we wanted the video to release, I can't take up all my time reviewing Omnia's script, so I trusted her to say the right thing. Once I found out, I told Omnia not to include it, but at that point she already did. Once the video dropped, Omnia received a comment criticizing her for it, and I went on to send her this comment through DM, reminding her that I told her to get rid of it, holding her accountable and making her remove it completely. No, we didn't put it in just because we wanted Libby and the other commentator to see it. No, we didn't stage or plan it like you seem to claim in this video, but yes, we are genuinely sorry for it. Yes, I did a bad job in trying to stop her. I should have pushed her more to get rid of it. That's why I told her as soon as someone expressed their disapproval that she needs to remove that clip, and that's exactly what she did. If Omnia stood by that statement at all and wasn't willing to reflect on her own actions, she would have never removed it. She took the commenter's critique and made the changes needed. I don't see why that's so difficult to understand.
The video pretty much ends after this point, with Fuchsia giving Omnia some more criticism and Jar gives his final thoughts. He says that this drama wasn't really his cup of tea, leaving people like Nani and Harsh to handle it, but goes on to say this.
The amount of dislikes and the amount of hate comments she got was just not normal. I'm talking about Kai in this video right now. I'm several times his size. But I'm also telling people not to attack him, just like he did with Harsh. I highly doubt his video will get that many more dislikes. But he's only roughly twice the size of Harsh, and just look at the amount of dislikes she got. That is not normal. No one even commentated on Nani's video, and it also got a ton of dislikes and hate comments. Now, maybe Harsh's and Nani's videos were terrible, but I watched them both. They were just as calm and collective as they normally are. I just don't understand why so much backlash.
I don't think neither of those videos were as calm and collected as you think they are. And I'm surprised you think the amount of dislikes the two of them got was not normal. Also, you talk about how these comments were hate comments. No, they weren't. A lot of the top comments on Nani's video were people telling her how disappointed they were with how little research she did on the topic, which is something that you, Harsh, and Nani have in common about this whole situation. People thought the videos in question were bad, because they were. That's That's it. But go on.
A lot of the comments on both Donnie and Harsh's video are on the lines of, I used to be a fan of you, but you just disappointed me. This is your worst video yet. Or, I'm new to this whole situation. I don't know what's going on, but to me you seem a little bit biased in Toby's favor. Why didn't you talk about her? I've been on the internet for a very long time, and these comments seem majorly sus. It could be that the Toby haters are really rabid, or Kai and Omnia have a little Discord group and they're getting a whole bunch of people to do a coordinated trolling attempt. But that seems like too much of a conspiracy for my taste.
Oh my god. A Discord trolling attempt? I'm glad you thought that this was too conspiracy theory for your taste, but if that's the case, why even say it? This point is literally so ridiculous that I'm going to give you all a tour of my Discord profile. What's up, bitches? I'm gonna make this as quick as possible. This is my Discord profile. I am a part of 7 servers. This first server, this is a server that me and my real life friends are in. We don't plan on using this until Sunday this week. So yeah, we have like a group call and we talk to each other like every week. At least we try to, if we don't have anything coming up. That is the server I'm in. I'm also in Teddy That Draws server. Her server also has Fuchsia in it, so if I were to coordinate some kind of Discord mob in this server, you would definitely notice it. This is an Animal Crossing New Horizons server made by my friend Spyro, who does streams on Twitch. I joined it to support him and also to talk to him on. Very good friend of mine and also a friend of mine in real life. This is Shofu's Discord server. Shofu is another streamer on this platform. He's a gaming YouTuber, but this is his server. Shofu is also my friend, which is why I engage with his online community. Mind you, I have never talked in Teddy's Discord server, and I barely talk in this server. So I don't know how I would create a mob here. Not only that, but the server isn't ran by me and the people inside would not care about YouTube drama that I'm in. This is Snark's Discord server. Snark is a friend of Shofu. He has his own Discord server. Snark no longer streams, so I'm not very active in his server. Not that I really was when I joined. These other two servers are servers for Pokemon ROM hacks, Pokemon Unbound and Pokemon Saffron version. When I'm not making videos and I have some free time, I like to play Pokemon ROM hacks. It's really, really fun. I love Pokemon. That's why I'm in these servers, because these hacks look interesting to me and I want to keep up with them if I can't go on the Poke community forums and think about them. Also, I have had conversations with people like Hopeless Peaches on this Discord server. I'm not somebody who spends a lot of time in online communities, would much rather, you know, interact with people in real life, so I'm not interested in coordinating some kind of hate mob against somebody who made a video on me. I wanted to make this as quick as possible. This is what's going on. My friends list are people who have added me in some of these communities and also friends who I have in real life. I only have 25 friends on Discord, and 25 people is not comparable to the amount of dislikes that Harsh got on her video or Nani got on her video. I don't know why you think somebody with 6,000 subscribers or somebody with 40,000 has the amount of influence to start a hate mob like this, but I digress. I'm done. As you can see, I'm in barely any Discord servers or online communities, and barely talk in the ones that I am a part of. I'm sorry, bro, but I don't spend a majority of my time on the internet. I do not care about YouTube drama enough to sit here and coordinate a hate mob. Like I said, Jar, I know this is a tough concept for you to grasp, but maybe those videos were just bad, and the dislikes are an indication of that. They are normal. You just don't want them to be.
Luckily, if you guys seen my Mr. Enter video, you guys would know I have a way of knowing who's commented on my videos before. So if I get a bunch of comments on this video from people saying, I used to be a fan of you, but you disappointed me, I can check if they commented on any of my videos before this one. I think the comment that finally broke me and made me want to talk about this situation is this one right here. I feel so bad for Kai and Omnia. Like, imagine the entire art community ganging up on you for making a valid criticism of someone. This is a top-rated comment on another video joining in on the whole Toby drama. Let me ask you this. Is the entire art community ganging up on Kai and Omnia? Fuck no! Look at the videos made by Kai and Omnia. That's a very good like to dislike ratio. Now let's look at the rating on Harsh's and Nani's video. Oof! I wonder who people are gaining up on, guys. It's just too hard for me to tell.
Yes, Jar, the YouTuber with nearly 200,000 subscribers making a video on YouTubers smaller than them, with the exception of Fuchsia, who is bigger but by only a small margin, as well as the other YouTuber, Nani, who has nearly 170,000 subscribers, making a video on someone with only 6,000. Mind you, I didn't have 6,000 when Nani made her video on me. Not only that, but several other art commentators with impressive numbers like Mrs. Easy, Hopeless Peaches, Nezzy Monster, and Madlibs, all of which are in your video's comment section, also conveniently show up after this video was released. If you're allowed to think those comments and dislikes are sus, I sure as hell think this is too.
Also, Nani and Harsh are not the entire art community. You are delusional if you think they are. And before someone says, oh come on Jar, this is just one comment, it's the top rated comment. The one thing I hope this video does is give the rest of the commentary community some backbone. I know a lot of you see the bullshit in this situation. Nani, make your video public again, and maybe make a part 2 while you're at it. Anyone else who wants to join in? Join in. If you want to criticize Toby, go for it. But the amount of hate people will get for not defending Toby, but criticizing people who criticize her is outrageous. I don't really care about this Toby situation, and I want this to be my first and last video about it. But if I have to make a part 2, then I will.
This isn't some BS about backbone, Jar, and encouraging everyone to add fuel to this fire is quite frankly reckless. You claim that Omni and I started some hate mob, but asking Nani to reinstate her video and create a second one while also telling the commentary community to just join in and also fixing to make a part 2 if you have to doesn't look like you're coordinating a hate mob yourself? Or, you know, dogpiling? This just worsens and overcomplicates something that was on its way to being over. It's sad. It's sad that none of you have moved on literally a month after it all happened. This drama has turned into something drastically different from what it started as, and it's pitiful I even have to say that. Do what y'all want. I just hope people will see you for what you are. The floor is yours, Nia.
Hello, Omnia interjecting here. One thing I want to say before I get into this situation as a whole has been so convoluted and overblown, and so have these DMs. I've already explained every aspect of them before, but let's just clarify it one more time so we can settle this. Let's get into it.
Finally, we come to the leaked DMs. With the full context of what's revealed, it doesn't change what was said. However, there are a few issues.
You can't get mad when people question you, when you outright admit to cherry picking. Doesn't matter if after the fact you showed context, you still made a conscious effort to choose 2 specific points. And people will want to know what the context is. You can't get mad at people who are going to call you out on that.
First question right off the bat is, who is people? Because no one questioned the 2 DMs showcased in our Faults of Toby video except for Toby. And the gag is, I didn't get mad. The first DM shown was this one right here, timestamp 11:22 on our The Faults of Toby video, and the second one here, timestamp 12. The first DM showcased was conversational, where Toby stated that I got buried in her DMs and she wanted to DM me to express her approval for my Creepshow art video. The second one, which was much more lengthy, contained information about her support for Shane Dawson, which was a publicly known fact at that point. Within this particular DM, she goes on to explain how long she supported him, why people supported him back in the day, why she has a problem with people calling him out on things he's done in the past that he's apologized for, and how she no longer wants to associate with him, which I later found out was a lie, and the whole reason I even included that DM in the video to begin with. I chose as few DMs as possible because I had no intention to leak more than I felt was necessary to prove my point. I had no intention of leaking all DMs sent within that conversation because it was unnecessary. I chose the first one to illustrate how the dialogue began, and I chose the relevant Shane one because I wanted to comment on her contradictory behavior. I had no pushback on those DMs until Toby tweeted about it, and I wasn't angry that she wanted the full context revealed. I was angry that she lied about what I did with them publicly. I didn't twist them, I didn't lie about them, and I didn't cut them up to paint a narrative about her. But we'll get into that next.
And that leads to the next point, using the DMs at all. And no, Anya, this is not an acceptable response, because I'm going to explain something from a legal side. There's an expectation of privacy when it comes to direct messages, since it's a system that, by design, is meant to be kept from more public discourse, i.e. private. Even then, having seen the DMs myself, there's nowhere in that conversation that you informed Toby that this would be using the DMs publicly. I admit, she shouldn't be speaking out like this, especially to a stranger, but at the same time, that doesn't give you the right to actually leak the DMs.
Once again, the two DMs I chose initially was either conversational or already publicly known information. The only thing that wasn't publicly known was that Toby claimed to no longer associate with Shane, which she contradicted quite quickly afterwards in her comment section. Again, that was my point of including that DM to begin with, to illustrate her contradictory behavior. When Toby tweeted, quote, "They twisted things and lied and cut up DMs, that's when I did, indeed, have the right to leak them. I agree that private conversations should stay private until you decide to lie about them publicly. If you don't want someone to leak DMs, don't lie about the conversation that was had publicly to make me look like someone who purposefully manipulates a narrative to play in my favor. I didn't do that, and you, yourselves, acknowledge that by stating,
With the full context of what's revealed, it doesn't change what was said.
how would you have been able to come to that conclusion if I hadn't leaked the relevant DMs? It's Toby's lies against the literal evidence that I provided. And I never planned on leaking the DMs to begin with. I only decided to do so after Toby lied about them publicly. At that point, I am fully in my right to leak the DM conversation in order to disprove the false claims she made about me. Hopeless Peaches and MangaKamen really want to believe I'm out here just leaking DMs left and right because I feel like it. No, I leaked the DMs in response to Toby's false claims, which she herself made public. I don't understand why that's so hard for you to understand. I provided the necessary evidence to show that I had not lied or twisted a narrative. I gave the full context, which is what she seemingly was asking for. And Peaches even went on to agree with me on this, stating, quote, "I had very serious private info of mine spread and cut up. I would have killed for somebody to have shared the full context instead of cherry picking and spreading the worst interpretation from it." Then she decided to switch up? Why anyone considers the leaked DMs to be a leverage point is beyond me.
This is legal stuff.
Is it really though? According to most US court cases, it isn't illegal to post screenshots of a private conversation had between two people publicly, and most importantly, it depends on the context. Again, in this context, Toby lied publicly about me and the intentions I had with those DMs. It's perfectly fine to have posted these DMs in response to that lie in order to disprove it. The fact that you're bringing up the legality of this situation is really absurd, considering the fact that you forget to mention how Toby went out of her way to blackmail and threaten Trent, or One Man Show Off, here on YouTube for associating with Ben the Looney, the creator she is constantly attempting to label as a pedophile. You know, because blackmail is considered a crime regardless of whether the information is true or false. Toby threatened to expose Trent for no longer wanting to be associated with her after she accused Ben of being a pedophile, and she low-key did this on her video about her dog passing away, as if that's an appropriate or warranted response.
And frankly, even if you disagree, this is still a stupid move on your part. And I know you're watching this, because I'm criticizing you right now. And seeing as how you reacted to people saying they were going to do a video on you, let us be completely blunt. You have shot your credibility!
Allow me to explain. By leaking the private conversation, any other chance you have to talk to someone you're going to be criticizing will be met with nothing but the cold shoulder. Because people won't be able to trust you since you're going to leak these kinds of situations. If Toby admitted a crime, yes, go for it. Expose her, because that's good to do in your civic duty as a person.
But stuff like opinions, even stupid opinions that you might find offensive, that's a fat fucking nope.
That's really stupid, and something that shouldn't have been done. Why should anyone talk to you about anything going forward, when you've shown that you're willing to leak DMs about petty stuff like this? Again, you can disagree with us all you want. You can call me a white knight, a simp, even though I don't approve of Toby's actions, and I don't care for how she treated some of her friends. But don't be surprised if no one you criticize wants to talk to you after this. You simply can't be trusted.
My credibility is over and I can't be trusted? All because I provided the necessary evidence to prove that I didn't lie? Really? And the thing is, I don't want to be talking to the people I criticize, especially considering the one time I do, this is the shit that happens. Stuff gets so unnecessarily blown out of proportion. Once again, you guys really want to believe that I leaked these DMs over nothing or because of something really petty like Toby's opinions that I disagree with. No, I leaked them because she lied about the way I used them. Her opinions were hers to have and I planned on keeping it that way way, but they came out into the public as a result of her lying about me and my intentions publicly. I'm so sorry, but I provided the full context as evidence to prove that I didn't twist things, or lie, or cut up DMs. If people have an issue with her opinions, it's a byproduct of her lying on me publicly. And no, I'm not going to call you a white knight or a simp, because unlike you, I'm not really in the business of calling people names and insulting people under the guise of criticism.
First of all, you put it out there for the public, meaning anyone can give an opinion on the situation. They're not involved? Well, let's flip that. Why did you get involved, you dense-skulled leech? Toby's dealings are her own, so why would you get involved in her situation? I'm not saying you can, but yeesh. The mere thought that anyone could come to a different conclusion to you, or God forbid criticize you for how you acted during this situation, is extremely hypocritical.
Before I even get into this, I fully agree with any criticism regarding how toxic and threatening and straight up disgusting my threat was, because honestly, it was really toxic, threatening, and wrong. I directly added Toby and Libby to apologize for it. I told them both directly that I sincerely am sorry about my behavior and I apologize for the actions and words that I said. I also understood if they didn't want to accept my apology and just wanted to let them know I expressed regret over the way I acted. I still regret it, but I've grown from it and I can guarantee you it's not going to happen in this video or any other video regarding this situation. If anything, I acknowledge my mistake and I'm working to improve myself. As for Butters asking me why I got involved, I didn't. If you read the full DMs, you would have seen that I expressed hearing some less than ideal stuff about Toby, and I wanted to be transparent about it. I said Toby didn't owe me an explanation, but she went ahead and provided one anyways. I simply told her I heard some things, she provided her side, she contradicted what she said in DMs, and that was how this situation was born.
Again, to be fair, this was cut from her response from Toby, but the fact that this was put in the final product anyway is kind of disgusting, and makes it seem like you can't take criticism either. You don't get to pull this kind of stuff when you put this situation out in the public, and invalidate criticism just because it's criticism levied against you.
Glass houses, that's all I'm saying.
Agreed. Like I said, it was disgusting, and I take that upon myself fully. The thing is, Butters, your friend kinda did the same thing that I did, but I don't see you criticizing her for it. You know, when she said this.
So upon editing this video, it was brought to my attention by two very good friends of mine are currently working on a video going over Omnia's entire video because apparently, according to them, what they've told me, there are several inconsistencies and lies and manipulated messages that she had in her videos. That video is going to be coming out sometime soon, so when it does, I'll make sure to heavily promote.
Yeah, remember when she started her supposed apology video by stating that she'll heavily promote any videos her friends managed to make refuting mine? Just cause they said that there were several inconsistencies and lies and manipulated messages in it, when again, there weren't. That's not questionable or combative to you though, is it? Cause she's your friend, right? Something she hasn't apologized for either, but she can get off the hook when I'm being vilified for it? Why? Because she's Toby, and Toby can get away with things she hasn't expressed an ounce of regret over? Sounds like a huge double standard to me, which makes this video come off nothing less than biased in favor of Toby.
Omnia, thinking that kind of comment at all is a good idea in this situation is telling of you as a person, and makes you not only viewed as untrustworthy, but someone who's willing to attack people who may disagree with you.
That exact statement can also be applied to your friend. I'm not saying it doesn't apply to me too, but she's equally at fault here. You're right. It was stupid. It wasn't a good idea. But don't act like your pal Toby isn't willing to attack people when they disagree with her. And yet, you had nothing to say about that. I think you made fair points here, but I don't understand why you felt the need to call me names such as dumb as a bucket of bricks and a dense-skulled leech, when it adds nothing to the conversation and is only there to attack me and make me feel less than. Masking insults as criticism is nothing short of bullying. I also suggest you keep the same energy with Toby and hold her to the same standard you are holding me to. Sup, bitches? I'm Omnia. Wow, look at us, collabing for the third time on something neither of us wanted to talk about again because we moved on from it a month ago. I tweeted this on October 1st stating, quote, "I do not want to or plan to comment on anything else from this point forward." But would you look at that? It's November 7th and here we are. Same situation, same place. I personally feel like the only people who haven't been able to get over this situation are the creators who still want to make this an issue. And that appears to be every single creator that has dogpiled thus far, including Ms. ZZ, Madlibs, Hopeless Peaches, Nezzy Monster, and Nani. I would also just like to note that this particular comment from Nani has been deleted recently, but we'll get into why that's a problem shortly. And of course, let's not forget the people who collaborated to make this video, Just a Robot, MangaKamen, and FuschiaButter. Oh, and Toby too, because she's also still commenting about it publicly on Twitter. Like, a lot. I took 5 screenshots of her replies on Twitter, but that's not even all of them. So yeah, if we're keeping count, that's a total of 9 creators bitching about this situation a month after Kai and I apologized, said we were over it, and kept it moving. It's honestly a little strange how pressed everyone still is about this, but again, I'll talk more about that later. First thing I want to mention is I typed out a very lengthy reply to Jar's video detailing a bulk of my thoughts when I first saw his video, and it's still up in the comment section if you want to read it for yourself. It's quite long and detailed, but it encompasses a lot of my thoughts on the entire video and the points they presented. The most interesting thing about my comment though is that Jar decided to respond, and as expected, it wasn't great. Before we even break it down, I just want to let you know he repeats himself a couple times in his response and it's a little bit confusing, but I'll try my best to explain what he's referring to. Let's get into it together.
Yes, that is what she said.
He's referring to harsh opinions here.
I played the clip in the video. Well, a black man doesn't really need to speak about race if he really doesn't want to, and I don't see that as a bad thing.
Okay, but Kai is a black man who wants to speak on race. So harsh opinions telling him that the race comments were a quote-unquote whole other can of worms that didn't need to be fucking opened is essentially saying that Kai shouldn't speak on race despite it affecting him every single day of his life. So yeah, it is a bad thing.
No, she said, I don't want to get into the topic of race comments. Here's a timestamp you can clearly hear her say I and not Kai. If anything, you guys are telling her as a non-black person how to feel about race. When people are falsely accusing someone of something, yeah, it's a hate comment. Also, you are actually putting words in her mouth and taking what she said as a whole other thing entirely. Here is what she actually said. I really don't want to get into the topic of the race comments because that's a whole other can of worms that didn't need to be fucking opened. I don't understand how that doesn't tell you that she didn't want to talk about it, but keep cutting her out of context despite crying wolf about people cutting you out of context.
Thing is, I started my comment off by quoting the last half of what Harsh said, which I show right here. She still said that the race comments was a whole other can of worms that didn't need to be fucking opened. To a black man whose race is a can of worms that he unfortunately doesn't have the privilege to simply dismiss and leave unopened like y'all can.
What does our race have to do with anything? You racist black woman? And you didn't mention the trans woman.
He's speaking about Fuchsia.
Are you saying trans people aren't real people? Just kidding with that last part, but do you see how easy it is to use identity politics? I can do it too.
Did you just call me a racist black woman? I don't really have the energy to unpack that sentence, but Lord have mercy, am I being tested right now?
I'm just reading his comment in a funny voice to be entertaining. I'm not trying to make him look stupid or anything. You really like projecting, don't you?
No one, and I mean no one, was entertained by you reading Kai's comment in the slowest and most condescending way possible. I can guarantee you not a single soul. Also, would you mind explaining why you decided to throw in Black SpongeBob while you were reading it? Like, genuinely. What purpose does that serve? Is that supposed to be for entertainment purposes too? Was it supposed to be funny? Was it supposed to get people to laugh about black people? Or like, Kai's black, LOL, Black SpongeBob, you know, like, this is such a funny idea. I don't know, just questions I'd really love answers to, bro.
Also, Kai doesn't owe anyone anything in his comment. Where the fuck did I say that Kai owes anyone anything for his comment? Did you watch the right video? He was not fazed by a lot of the claims Harsh made in her video because he believed it was very speculative and thus simply said he disagreed and moved along. He made a response video. Okay, I'm going to ask you to reread this statement right here and tell me what's wrong with it. If you can't figure it out, I will be more than happy to point out the idiocy of this statement.
This really isn't my argument to have, and Kai explained his reasoning on his half of the video, so I would just refer to that for this point.
I never used the term weakness or limp-wristed or anything in that nature. God, you're full of shit, aren't you? We didn't give a shit about how long it was either, dumbass. The point of his comment is that we are on opposite sides when we are not, you stupid woman.
It seems like you're getting really aggressive right now. Firstly, Fuchsia is the one who used the terms weakness and limp-wristed, and I'll play it for you right here.
And the fact that you took the route of not addressing anything in her video with your comment is really limp-wristed. It shows weakness in your argumentative skills.
The fact that you didn't even take a second to play that part of the video back to double check your points decreases the credibility of your argument throughout this entire comment. You also didn't even remember what your collab partner said, and while that's a human mistake we all forget sometimes, maybe take a second and play it back just to make sure. Just like you antagonized Kai and I for getting the dates wrong on Madlib's tweets, it's a human error and easily fixable, so I'd advise you to simply double check next time. Secondly, no need to get all destructive with the critique, calling me a dumb dumbass and a stupid woman is just straight up insults. It's nothing short of bullying.
Yes, we do know neither you nor Kai called Toby a pedo. We said so in the video, lol. And yes, people are calling Toby a pedo. You guys didn't, but other people are because of what you said. I think her logic was about lolly shit other than people who are remotely under the age of 18. 16 is still the legal age of consent in most states. It's not her logic. A 9,000-year-old lolly is still a lolly. If we are speaking about the logistic stance of view on this, 16-year-olds are legal to consent to sexual situations in most states. What Toby was referring to was that if you draw a literal child in these situations where they are at the age that they cannot legally consent and you find joy in it, you are a pedo. They think of the character of being an adult, not a child.
I have such a big issue with this. Once again, as Kai indicated earlier, you all took out the part where he has repeatedly stated, according to your logic, and it's just such an old argument at this point. If people think Toby is a pedo after Kai and I have explained it a million times, I just don't think there's hope for them. Again, Toby said, quote, "If you think that drawing children or children that are drawn in sexual situations is okay or you do it, you are a pedophile, you support pedophiles, you don't have empathy, and you don't fucking care, or you're fucking stupid." Toby has drawn Todoroki, a minor in BDSM, which is inherently sexual. There was never nuance in her statement. She never said, quote, "If you think that drawing lollies or children under the legal age of consent in sexual situations is okay or you do it, you are a pedophile." You're actively twisting her argument around to refute claims that Toby herself made. Also, it's really concerning how you go on and on about the age of consent when anyone below the age of 17 is a minor in the United States. Do you want to know what the definition of a minor is? It is, and I stated it in my comment, quote, "A person under a certain age, usually the age of majority, which legally demarcates childhood from adulthood." Let me repeat, legally demarcates childhood from adulthood. A 16-year-old is a child. The fact that you even took the time to search up the age of consent in the United States thinking you're proving a point is disgusting. 17-year-olds and younger are legally children. Don't say, quote, "I think her logic was this," or "I think her logic was that." If you take her statement at face value, you have your answer right there. No speculation needed, no nuance required. That was the entire point.
Okay, fine, she did it 2 times.
He's referring to Toby drawing Todoroki and the not safe for work Usagi drawing.
Wow, so much more. The girl from Sailor Moon is no longer 14, but she's 16 now. My point still stands. This girl isn't a lolly. I don't see it as child porn, even by Toby's own logic, lol.
Once again, twisting Toby's logic to suit your argument. Toby never specified lollies or whether the child is able to consent. She said children, and the legal definition of a child is anyone 17 years old or younger in the United States. I think it's crazy how far you are willing to go to rationalize what Toby has done, even going so far as downplaying her hypocrisy by twisting what she said to fit your narrative. If you didn't understand why people think you're biased in this video, this is why. You're literally doing everything in your power to absolve Toby by even looking up ages of consent, and when you found out it wasn't a one-time thing, then it's suddenly, okay fine, she did it 2 times, wow, so much more. Like, really? It's crazy how my petty quote tweets that I apologize for warrant a 24-minute video and Toby gets a pass on her blatant hypocrisy. This is getting really ridiculous at this point.
Yes, Toby lying was bad on her part. Sorry I didn't mention that in the video. What I suggest you do next time is that instead of leaking all the DMs, you tell her, "How is what I said out of context, can you please explain?" or ask permission. If she refuses, then it would be a good time to leave the DMs.
Yes, because asking permission from the person who lied about me, if I can provide evidence that they're lying about me, is a good idea. That's like someone accusing you of committing a crime, and then you asking the person who accused you if you can provide an alibi to prove that you weren't at the scene of the crime. Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let me ask to provide evidence to refute your false claim. Maybe, just maybe, instead of asking me to accommodate for all the shitty things Toby does, just condemn the fact that she did it in the first place? Why am I at so much fault for leaking the DMs when the DMs wouldn't be leaked if she didn't lie in the first place? Why is her lying about the DMs not criticized while I'm absolutely lambasted for leaking them? You recognize that her lying is a bad thing, yet proceed to tell me what I should have done to accommodate for her lying. Again, the DMs wouldn't be released if she didn't lie first. Condemn her for lying first, condemn me for reacting second. Don't yell at the child who cried in reaction to the other one taking their toy. Who started it and why are they being shielded so much? genuine questions here.
That was Butter's point, not mine. I'll let her defend it herself. Yeah, Toby did some bad things. We did call her out for it, but this point is, what about them? There are plenty of videos calling Toby for her BS and not yours, or Toby's BS is what this video is about.
I don't know if you ever considered this, Jar, but maybe Toby has more videos calling her out because she's done way more shitty things than Kai and I did, and because she's never apologized for any of it. Maybe Toby needs those call-outs because she hasn't made any active effort to express regrets over her mistakes, while Kai and I have. You do realize you sound like you're equating Kai and my mistakes with Toby's because you said you wanted to make this video about our faults. Like, you're analyzing 3 things that we've either explained already or apologized for, deleted, moved on from a month ago, but you don't even bother mentioning the majority of what Toby has done that she has not apologized for, like blackmailing one-man show-off, or her sick transphobic comment directed at Oof It's Helios. You call that neutral?
Well, if it's your opinion, I'll just skip this part. Not because Kai and I are secret cult leaders who control the art community at LMFAO. I don't know what you meant by this, but you might have missed this part.
Okay, but like, you literally said you think we have a Discord where we rally people together and get them to mass dislike videos and comment on Harsh's and Nani's videos. Like, you said that. You also said that it's a little too tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist for your taste, but you said that regardless. My dude, at least give us something concrete. All this speculation just leads to more misinformation, and there's already a lot of that in this situation.
So my point was that it was 2 people and they said it was the entire community. So you said my point was right? Yeah, a few other people did join in, but they just left a few comments to voice their opinions. That's not a bad thing.
I don't think it's clicking for you. Madlibs, a creator with about 59,000 subscribers, went on their public Twitter account and falsely accused me of lying, being two-faced, and farming Toby for content. Ms. Zizi, a person whose channel has almost 70,000 subscribers, actively and purposefully decided to go to Kai's channel, one that has less than 10,000 subscribers, and comment simp under his video. Not only that, but going directly onto Harsh's video and commenting on how much of a simp Kai is there too. Do you not understand how intimidating that is? Do you not understand how you choosing to cover this topic as a channel with over 180,000 subscribers feels to us? Do you not understand how Nani openly admitting to not watching our videos but still inputting her 2 cents into a channel of over 160,000 subscribers hurts us? I seriously doubt you do, because numbers can be weaponized, and it's scary how you act like you don't have an audience or influence over other people.
Toby did apologize. It wasn't very good, but she did. But it doesn't matter that you, Toby, or Kai apologized. You guys did bad things, and I'm still going to call you out for it. We aren't saying Toby didn't do anything, but there are plenty of videos calling Toby out.
Again, do you see why a lot of people think your video is biased in favor of Toby? You saying that there are already plenty of videos calling Toby out, let's just make this one focusing on you two despite the fact that we apologize and addressed all that we can, makes it seem like you're trying to justify and even the playing field. Like, oh my god, Toby has 10 videos on her, but Kai and Omnia only have 2. Let's make one about them and try and make it more even. Our mistakes are not proportional, and I will keep saying it till the cows come home. Kai and I are at fault in our own ways, and I'm not trying to downplay that, but we are not comparable by Toby, and that's a fact. So that was Jar's response comment. I told you it wasn't good. The last thing I want to cover before I wrap up is the response from other creators about Jar's video. And this will hopefully really drive home the point I'm trying to make, which is art commentators seriously aren't who you think they are. Let's start with Hopeless Peaches. She had this to say about Jar's video. Please pause to read. Peaches, if you think Jar's video can be compared to the Right Opinions videos, you're incredibly mistaken. And if you think Jar's video was retrospective and collected, then you must have not heard all the times Jar and Fuchsia called us stupid, as dumb as a bucket of bricks, and a dense-skulled leech. This video was not retrospective, nor was it necessary. It's late because we were all over it, and now we're here again. It's really frustrating. Now, let's analyze Nani's response to Jar's video. She said, "Wow, Nani, you're sorry about your video being gone, but you're not sorry about spreading blatant misinformation about me and Kai whose subscribers don't add up to even half of your audience? Yikes. You also took it down because people were trying to imply that you were racist, not because you took any of the valid and tame criticism dealt to you by some of your most dedicated fans to heart? I was in that comment section, and everyone in there expressed how much they adore you and how long they've been watching your content, but that video just disappointed them. And you openly admit you only took it down because because you got shitty comments about it? Not only that, but I guess that makes this post you made 3 weeks ago in your community tab null, right? And the fact that so many of your fans in the comment section called you out on a number of different things that you failed to even acknowledge or recognize after the fact, then you have the audacity to delete this comment out of Jar's comment section and act like you never even went back on your apology? Truly. It's sad to see someone I used to enjoy and be a fan of act this way in response to backlash about a misinformed video that caused me and Kai a lot of pain. It really sucks. As for Nezzy, she states, "You didn't get dragged into it, Nezzy. I would argue you inserted yourself into it. You literally compared me to Madame. You know, that girl who tried to dox a minor and leak her sexual assault story. Like, I don't even know what your point here is. I'm sorry that your audience was pressuring you to make a video on me, but saying that you got dragged into this is blatantly false. And apparently, you're on Twitter with my name still in your mouth, interacting with Butters after she said she got threatened by someone in the comment section for criticizing me and Kai. Nezzy literally said, 'Why does threatening people who criticize them seem to be a common trend with her and her audience?' And Butters responded with, 'Toxicity and immaturity?' Rich of you to say that, but then blatantly insult me with low blows throughout your entire collab video, Butters. And Nezzy, how is this person automatically a part of my audience in your mind? I never spoke about this publicly once until this video drops. You act like you never say anything about this situation or that you got dragged into it, yet actively talk shit and engage with this stuff. And then you have the audacity to act shocked when you're called out. You're not slick. You talk a lot about this, but downplay your involvement. It's really disappointing coming from someone who worked hard and collaborated with Pondersprocket. That's about all I have the energy to talk about with these creators. There's obviously still Madlibs and Miss ZZ who have continually been involved with this as well, but I don't feel like their involvement was as heavy-handed as the other creators I mentioned. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This situation is exhausting. There's been so many moving parts, so many things said, so many things misrepresented and misunderstood, so much misinformation and people trying to speak for us and equating our faults with Toby's. All I have to say at this point is I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. None of this would have happened if Toby just ignored us or apologized, yet here we are. I'll be honest. YouTube hasn't been the same place as it used to be for me, and a lot of people I used to look up to have disappointed me. I've only been on this platform for about 5 months, and I've seen a lot of behavior that I never would have anticipated from creators that I used to watch before I decided to become a creator myself. If nothing else, I hope to learn and grow and blossom from this situation. I know better now, and while it's been a really hard process to go through, it's been a necessary one. Growth is not easy, change is really hard, but with that difficulty comes strength and resiliency, greater stability, and a greater sense of where I belong and who I enjoy being around. As exhausted as I am, I'm happy to have grown close with people I didn't anticipate growing close with and evolving into a more rational and mature version of myself. Thank you to Kai for being my partner throughout all of this, despite this being the literal worst thing we could be partners for. And I guess we'll catch y'all next time. Bye.